Hello, friends of Skele Vader. Welcome to episode, what is this? Episode 12, Oz?
12. Yep.
12. And this is exciting because we got the man himself. We got Ryan Doell joining us for the discussion tonight. Thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. 12 episodes.
12.
That's a pretty good start. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think once you get over that hump of 10, it's easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I said 12 just now, I kind of surprised myself. I wrote it out last night when I created the stream, but saying it out.
Most shows don't make it past 3, so already.
Hey,
there we go.
We did it, Oz. We did it.
What got us past the 3rd episode was that's when I put King T on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So that's what did it. The King T custom.
I'm getting to bring King T out. King T's over in the other room, but man, King T is bringing the good energy constantly to Toy Frenzy. So let's go ahead and say hi to the folks who are here. We got Eltenda here. Good to see you. And we have Duchess of Darkness, of course, showing up. Good to see you, Duchess. And our sole Patreon, Gamer Bud. Good to see you.
Awesome.
And we've got Nolan showing up. How's it going, Nolan?
Nice.
And
hey, Nolan.
Ray Black. Oops, I didn't click that one. There we go. How's it going? Good to see you. Oh, and the Prowler's back. Good to see you, the Prowler. And Jay Peregrine is here. Good to see you.
Excellent.
And John. John actually emailed me earlier today to show me he's planning a layout for his basement basement Masters of the Universe setup, and he's got the whole Eternia design laid out. Pretty awesome. And
John, you got to walk us through that. Film it, walk us through it, and that could be an episode.
Yeah, I think
print out cardboard cutouts of everything too.
Yes, I am a big advocate for like if you're planning to build something, make a small maquette of it first. Like even if you just like do little cardboard cutouts on something this big, and then you can plan it out. But I think he's thinking about all that stuff. Oh, here we go, John. I'll do that, Oz. Cool.
Yes, definitely.
We got Collecting and Hobbies Maximum. Good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you. And JMax77. Good to see you all.
This is awesome. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight.
Yes. We really appreciate you being here. And does everybody know who Ryan Doell is? I'm sure everyone in the chat does. But Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how you got yourself in this position talking to us two nerds?
Well, I'm Ryan Doell. I'm on YHS Toy Anxiety. I believe it's just called Toy Anxiety now on YouTube. That show completely took over that page. So we've been doing that now for about 3 years. And I also just started my own channel with my friend Lexi called Gotham City Tonight. We just talk about Batman and DC Comics. And it's mostly very comic focused. We'll dabble in some movie talk, but we mostly focus on the comics. And you might know my IMDb page, like Troy McClure. You might know me from such films as Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
That's right.
Into the Spider-Verse.
That's right.
All that kind of stuff. So
it's very cool.
Yeah, and that's how I ended up here, because you guys were like, "Come on," and I was like, "All right, yeah, let's do it."
And for those of you that don't watch Toy Anxiety, definitely start watching it. The link is right down below. I pasted it down there in the text section. What do we call that? Every time the description box. Yeah, got the links there for Gotham City Tonight and for Toy Anxiety. You should all check those out. Last night's episode of Gotham City Tonight was Superman focused, right? And that was a lot of fun. I kept tuning in and tuning out. That's what I do. Unfortunately, I'm always like listening and watching while I'm doing other things. So
that's everybody. That's why we're here. We're the background noise you need to get through your day.
That's right.
It's so I'm going to just share this little tidbit of hilarity. Is I was watching Toy Anxiety last week, no, 2 weeks ago, October 1st, and they had a little giveaway, and I put my name into the giveaway, and I'm watching, and the giveaway starts, and I'm feel like I'm still watching, and then I guess I must have done something else, maybe walked the dog or took out the trash or something, and apparently I won. So Ryan, I'm just hoping I can still get my Black Series Mandalorian figure.
Yeah, you should be, but just make sure you just message the Yes Have Some page.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, because it'll be Craig. Craig will be the guy who's gonna mail it out.
I was like, oh my gosh, 12 days later. That's really embarrassing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Craig totally gave it to somebody else. But
no, he doesn't have the energy for that.
He's been traveling all over the U.S. for like the past 6 months, flying back and forth, east to west, and then just getting back from New York Comic Con.
A lot. Nolan, not always commenting, but always watching. I think, yeah, that's good.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a lineup for days. Like, people used to plan out their nights using the TV guide and everything. And it's like, I have the same thing when it comes to YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all my life is now. If it's
right.
Well, when I'm not on it, I mean, this is this is day number 4 in a row of live YouTubing.
Yeah, it
but I
is.
mean, like, so many of my friends, it's like what we do now. It's built a community, and even if I don't get to watch everybody live, I always try to make sure I watch them on a replay and let them know. I just always just give everybody a shout out best I can, right? Like even tonight, same time as like, but these guys go on for like 5 hours. So if you ever watch Toying Around, my buddy Kevin out in Ontario, but those guys go for like 5-hour marathon streams to open toys and talk about toys.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
Like they go long. So I always say, like, watch something else first, then hop onto there. You probably haven't skipped a beat. But it's a great show. He has such great production. It's like watching TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's so good. And then of course there's Jay and right, Jay and Stu on Geek Dad Life. So they're on. I have them planned for Sunday, but before they start, my buddy Paulie does fun boxing on Sundays before him. It's just I have to plan everything all out and make sure all my friends get some love.
Yes, definitely. And speaking of love, one of our favorites, Ray from Collecting Classics, is here. We made it.
Ray,
great.
Glad to have you.
So for those of you that don't know Ray yet, Ray was on our Monday episode with Mega J. Oh, wait, no, that was Tuesday. And
it was Tuesday. Yep.
And man, that was a great discussion, Ray. So happy to have had you there. And happy that you're here tonight.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't watch Collecting Classics on Instagram, you should definitely tune in because Ray is on it, man. He posts all the time on there, and his videos are so much fun to watch. He did an unboxing of what we're going to unbox tonight with his dad the other day, which was really awesome. The 40th anniversary 2-pack. So yeah, Pops on there is awesome. Good stuff. And we got everybody's talking to each other on here. This is awesome.
That's awesome.
And back here, John said, I subbed to your 2 channels.
Oh, thank you, John.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Thanks, John. So
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You first.
I was going to say, Ryan, you forgot to plug your newest show that you're doing.
So it's not, well, it kind of plugged Toy Anxiety, which is like the channel within itself.
That's true.
But I just started doing one. I don't know how regularly I'm going to do it. Because I wanted to do it every other week, but then I realized if I don't do it this week, then I'm gone for 2 weeks out in Toronto, and then I come back. So I think it's going to be a big big break until I get to issue number 2, but I'm doing a thing called Flippin' Star Wars, and I took a little side note from another YouTube channel that I love called Cartoonist Kayfabe. And Cartoonist Kayfabe are 2 industry professionals in comic books, and they flip through classic Milestone comics, like not the brand Milestone, though I think they have touched on Milestone comics, but milestones in history of comics, as well as they go through old Wizard magazines. And they go through and they talk about them and they dissect them, and it's just like, yeah. And it's like, because I've got my own stack of Wizard magazines back here too, of old ones from the 90s and stuff, and I just love them. And it's kind of half their fault, because it's like, fuck, I had that issue, and then I had to like go out and find it and reread some of the stuff. And that's when I was like, oh, they got to have this for like the old Star Wars magazines, like Star Wars Galaxy Collector. They got to have that. That's got to exist somewhere within the sphere of the internet. Turns out it did not. They're not on any of the Star Wars sites, none of the Star Wars fan pages, and nowhere on Star Wars YouTube or collecting YouTube. So I was like, well, I guess I better find these magazines. And that's what I did. I went hunting for them, grabbed them all. There's only 13 issues, and then 8 issues of their follow-up magazine just called Star Wars Galaxy Toy Collector. So it's just like, because again, the magazine is mostly just about collecting toys. Well, it's called Collector Magazine, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, screw it. Then I guess if I want to have this on the internet, then I guess I have to do
it. That's right.
Since I might be the only one. But at least it's out there now for anybody who's looking for it and wants that, just kind of that. It's a little bit of hit of nostalgia, but at the same time, the first issue is really kind of fun to go through, because Power of the Force 2 wasn't even announced yet. Like, we're going that early. Like, they just announced the Bendham's line. Not even like, and what is it? And Star Wars Topps Galaxy cards. There's only 12 issues of Dark Horse Star Wars comics to buy, because they had a checklist on one page of like, if you need to start collecting comics, you can now, because there's only 12 issues. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I can't read, like, it's so, like, I remember that time.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine it though now, right? It's totally hard to imagine it.
Well, because we're so oversaturated with Star Wars. Like, and even though I'm okay with that, there's a part of me that really appreciates it, even though I feel like I don't think there's any of the new content I can say that I hate. Sometimes I'm a little like, but right now, Andor, I'm loving Andor. But there is something really crazy about before the special editions, before the prequels, before any of that, and what Star Wars was, and it was so small and contained. Like the most books they had out by 1994 was like, I think the twins were born, right? Han and Leia's twins, right?
Actually, I don't know. 94 might even be a little early for that, because I don't even think.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Maybe, because I think you're right, because I think by that time they were just pushing the courtship of Princess Leia, which was the wedding. And that was the first appearance of Dathomir and witches and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff.
Dole, we're going to need to do a Star Wars episode, you and I, at some point.
Definitely.
Like, really, just, like, everybody just dive in.
I'm grinning ear to ear here. I can't wait to have that conversation. So that's awesome. And also to talk to somebody about Andor too, because it's pretty great. We'll save that conversation for later. I'm a little worried about Thanos Copter driving home and listening and at the same time and typing into the chat. So be careful out there, Thanos Copter.
Yes.
please drive safe.
I admire that dedication though. That's awesome.
Every time we seem to be doing a stream lately, he's always driving on his way home.
Yeah.
So, you know,
that's how a lot of people listen to podcasts and shows now. They do it on they do it on the drive.
Yeah, I watch I catch up on the shows that I missed the lives. I listen to them on the drive to work and the drive home from work and on my lunch break and
Yep. I listen to them during work because it's just
the
pleasure of working from home.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my office, so.
Right. Man, I'm jealous, guys. You're making me jealous. So real quick before I open up the 2-pack, Ryan, I'm curious because when we have guests on here, we're always interested in what makes them tick. But what got you into toy collecting? What got you into comic books? Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about your background.
Well, just for those who I grew up on a farm in the middle of nowhere, Canada, in a small town in Saskatchewan. So it was legit like small town, that kind of stuff. And because we only had for the longest time we only had 2 channels, but three channels, but one of them was French. So I always say we only had 2 channels. We didn't really have much for Saturday morning cartoons. And then all of a sudden, some point hit in like 1985, we got a new channel which played Saturday morning cartoons, and then they all competed for that time bracket. So that all this I feel like I missed out on some real earlier stuff where I have more headcanon than like cartoon canon in my head, especially with G.I. Joe, for instance. I think I have probably more headcanon than knowledge of actual canon, unless it's the Larry Hama comics. So a lot of my introduction to new properties was toys and what I would see at the toy store. So like even like real Ghostbusters, I remember the first time seeing them. I can full on remember seeing them for the first time. And that was in a toy store.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Like Masters of the Universe. I remember like, cause we were still living in a small town then. That was right before we moved. Right before we moved to the farm. So my kindergarten year, and kids would always bring in, like, we had show and tell on Fridays. So sometimes you'd bring in your new Stinkor, but they'd be like, some kid would come in with Montana and you'd be like, oh my God, this guy's eyes pop out. I need that. Right. So it was like, but it's like, so there's always been that, like, and it's got to be an 80s thing. Like there's this like connection between your toys and your childhood. And Saturday morning cartoons. I think all of that comes into play. And then I think like, what was it? I think right when Turtles started, I think I started getting into Turtles, but then I was quickly out of Turtles, like Ninja Turtles. So I was kind of like, okay, like they're cool, but by that time I was getting into grade 5 and stuff. I discovered a magazine called Comic Scene magazine. So this is right before Wizard even started.
Yeah.
And Jim Lee did the cover, and it was the X-Men. And this was Uncanny X-Men. So this is before X-Men #1.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, what is this? And I begged my parents for the magazine. For back then, it was considered very, very expensive. No one pays $4 for a magazine in like in 1990, right? Like that's insane.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Yeah. And I had to beg for it, and I got it. And I think that thing I had to buy a new one in my 20s because that thing fell apart, because I took it with me everywhere. I was always flipping through it. Had these big, beautiful splash pages in there done by Jim Lee. So that was kind of my gateway drug. So when I got on my bike and went to the closest drugstore, which was like a 20-minute bike ride. When you're 10, that's far.
Yeah.
And went there, and they had the spinner rack, and I would love to get my hands on a spinner rack, by the way, but I can't find one. Hard to find now. But the old spinner rack, and there it was, Uncanny X-Men number 271, Rogue on the cover, their Savage Land gear with Magneto, and I was like,
yes,
boom, allowance is going here.
Yes.
And what is this? I'll grab this too. A pack of Marvel Series 1 trading cards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went home, and my mom was like, what is this? So, because, you got, it's Rogue. We all know what she dresses like when she's in the Savage Land. That's like flat out on the cover.
Oh, yeah.
And my mom was just like not pleased at her 10-year-old son coming back with that. But again, too, like I just dove in. I remember reading it and not having a damn clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, the worst thing you could do is, and the best thing at the same time, is pick up an early X-Men comic in the middle in a Chris Claremont run. because
Yeah.
there's so much happening and there's so many side stories and so many characters. So I kept reading that and kept going back to the magazine to try to match up who was who. And that's why I started collecting the trading cards, because that became my Wikipedia. Through the trading cards, I discovered this character named Nightcrawler, who is now very well known in pop culture. Back then, not so much. And I was like, he's part of X-Men? Wait, and he's part of Excalibur? Found someone at, I remember one of the teachers at the elementary school, actually, it's like a Stranger Things moment, where the teacher's like also a geek and discovers a geek and goes, hey, there's a comic store in this area of Saskatoon. You should check it out. And I was like, oh, okay. So again, begged my mom to go. She took me. It was like typical old school, comic store where it's dark, the carpet's sticky, there's boxes everywhere, and then the one wall, like you got high up, you got all these like pewter Dungeons and Dragons characters, and the guy behind the till looks sketchy as fuck. And you're just like, my mom's just like, what is this? This place smells weird. Why are we in here? It's dingy, it's damp. And I'm all like in heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
And I pick up and I see it first time. Bang, an issue of Excalibur. And I was like, I have to get this. And I got remember when Tim Drake had his first miniseries?
Yes.
I don't know but anyways, for anyone who doesn't know, so back when Tim Drake first appeared, they gave him his first kind of miniseries, just called like Robin 2, had holograms on the cover, very 90s, badass stuff. Holograms need to make a comeback, looking at you visionaries. And I grabbed that Robin 2 #1, because that Tim Drake Robin also had a big thing in that same X-Men magazine that I bought. There's a big thing about the new Robin. And I was like, oh my God. And so I grabbed Excalibur, grabbed Robin. The guy at the till was like, oh, if you're getting into DC now, because he clearly knew I was new to the store.
Yes.
He was like, keep an eye on Superman. And I was like, didn't know what he meant, but they were already starting to tease and lead up to the vendors of the death of Superman coming. And he was like, oh, if you're an X-Men fan, keep an eye on that too. Because already there were the hints and all this stuff of X-Men #1 coming out. So I got in just right before all these big 90s events happened. And that was it. Once I got Excalibur and Robin, it was game over. It was done. I've been collecting comics ever since, haven't stopped. It's disgusting. Maintaining, like, I got so many still at my parents' place. My parents even have some of my comics in a safe, because I have stuff like first appearance of Harley Quinn, first appearance of Deadpool, like all these like big major, because I've been collecting them, never got rid of them. My parents helped me take care of them because I wanted them to be nice, except for there's some issues where I had to rebuy, because again, when something's your favorite and you just keep going through it, it's just good. Superboy #1, Tom Grummett, leather jacket, all that stuff.
Yes.
I had to buy like several copies of that. I was like,
fantastic,
insane. But yeah, and so that's how I kind of got into pop culture and X-Men. Right when I started collecting X-Men, I actually started weaning out of toys at that point. And then there was an ad in one of the comics for the Toy Biz X-Men, right? Like, like these bad boys, right?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, but not, this is like a later wave, but I mean like that very, 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 very first wave there on that.
It was like row. What a six back, I think.
It's a 9 back technically, because you got all the villains there too. But I mean,
that's right.
It was, and I was like, they're making a Nightcrawler toy too. What's going on? I felt like I just jumped on at the right point. And that's when toys went from things that I played with to collectibles that I would have displayed. And then some point in time, you go through like a weird midlife crisis and you're like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to play with the toys again. And then that's what we call dusting and redisplaying them.
That's right.
Right. So that's how I got into it. And now I work in film, also working on comic book movies. So
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, for those that don't know, you were in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I worked on, I've worked on like before I got into Across the Spider-Verse, I was already working on, helped finished up Thor, Love and Thunder. Got Ant-Man 3 up and running and started. helped finish up Morbius, for better or for worse. Is what it is. Sometimes you can't control it. It's just things need to get done, and you just do it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what else has been. Thor Ragnarok. My name's on that. Batman versus Superman. I worked extensively on Batman versus Superman.
Right.
So this is.
I got stories for that. Tune in to Gotham City Tonight. I'm pretty sure one of these days I'm going to do an episode where it's just me talking about my experience, and it was a good experience, by the way. Believe me.
Right.
It was a really good. But I've dropped some stories in there already. About things I pitched, and Zack Snyder being all like, "Nah." I'm like,
and
clearly
this is why your universe fails.
Yes, right. I tried to save it. I did
tried,
my best.
but you could only do so much.
Correct.
That's what happens when we don't listen.
That's right. Yes.
Major Issues Comics is here, and Major Issues Comics has been in, chiming into the chat a lot lately, and he's got a comic book pressing business in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, nice.
And he sent over. We looked at him on Tuesday, but he sent over a bunch of cards. So yeah, thanks for being
Very
here.
Cool.
Issues. And the chat is going crazy, folks. Because Ryan, you're inspiring a lot of people.
That's what it is.
I really resonated with what you said about growing up in a rural community and having, toys and comics kind of slowly leak into your world. Like, that's how I grew up. The big city was like 45 minutes away, or a half hour away, depending on how fast the parents are driving. And
depending on which parent is driving.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly. And which car, right?
Right.
And my parents were divorced when I was very young, and so my dad lived down in the city, and my mom lived up in the mountains, and I didn't have access to a lot of that stuff except for when I would go see my dad. And then that's how I discovered Trapjaw, and it just broke my world, like in those mini comics, and then kids in my rural school would start talking about it, and it was very exciting, and so I can totally identify with that world that you grew up in.
Yeah, I loved it. I'm not even gonna lie. I loved every moment of it.
The hours spent playing out in the middle of nowhere,
in the woods, right? Out in the trees?
Out in the woods, in the trees, in the creeks, with the toys.
Yep.
And no one else around.
I got so good at learning how to carry my Eternia playset outside.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was like the best.
That's so cool. So, if you get the new Eternia playset, are you gonna try and find a rural area to take that out to and play?
And at least try to take photos and stuff for sure.
There you go.
Right? But mine was in very good condition. Like when I was talking to Jay from Geek Dad Life, he was like, "Oh, that track is so brittle; it falls apart right away." And I was like, "Clearly, you've only bought one recently. You probably bought someone's used one who just sucks." But I was like, because I never had track issues.
Yeah.
I think the only stuff that I really lost off of it, because it's still I kept my toys in very good condition, because I was kind of always told, if you break it, we're not buying you another.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's how my parents were. They were just like, you break it, we're not buying you another. That's it. And so at that point, it kind of gives you that well, then I'll just take care of it.
Yeah.
And so all my toys are still again, my real Ghostbusters, they're all on display, the ones I had as a kid.
Oh, that's so cool.
My Egon still has his tie, right? And these are toys that are played with because I worked hard to also take care of them. But I played with them, like I said, took them outside. My Joes, my He-Man, all that stuff. It all went outside. But again, too, I'd go in and I would take just a paper towel, not even wet or nothing, and just wipe everything down after I came back inside so my mom doesn't get mad. And
Put them on
That-
display. Were you displaying as a kid too? Because I totally was.
Oh, when I was
Yes.
done playing for the day, it was like my toys would be set up and ready and displayed, but
Yeah.
ready for that next adventure.
Yeah,
Like,
good.
Right.
That's good. So for anyone wondering, Thanos copter made it home safe. So thank
oh,
goodness.
excellent.
Yes.
We're very happy about that. So thank you.
I just imagine him he's not driving, like he's driving a helicopter.
Yes, yeah,
He is. That's
He is.
how he gets to and from work.
Yeah.
Yeah, see the track. Yeah, I think that playset was built very, very well. All my parts still work for it. All like the hands, the cat jaw, all that stuff. It all works. And I'm pretty sure if I put in new batteries in the monorail, which by the way, that thing sucked up batteries like crazy.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if I put batteries in there, it would probably still work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gamer Bud makes a good point. Bath time is a good time to clean those toys. Yep.
Yep. Figure bath.
That's right.
That's right.
Except that they got the metal screws. I mean, it's a good time to clean them, but then over time, you start noticing that red rust, and you're like, oh shit.
See, I don't know. I think a couple of my Joes had that a little bit, like the screw on the back. But again, of course, I don't really notice because the backpacks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They plug it up. You don't really notice it. But again, too, I think that was the one fun thing I loved as a kid being on the farm.
Yeah.
Especially in the wintertime, too. When you take your Joes out in the snow.
Yeah.
You got your tanks out in the snow.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's the best.
Especially when you had the Arctic camo guys, and
That was my jam.
Snowblind and everybody else.
I am all about cold weather gear vehicles and action figures.
Okay.
Like
So
100%. Like, so all the Batmans, all those antifreeze Batmans and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Got them all
Off.
because that's just for some reason because I love winter. I love it being cold. I love fall. I love winter.
Yeah.
Summer can
Me
just
too.
go to hell. And because I loved Halloween. I loved Christmas. I loved the snow.
Halloween's
Yeah.
Right.
Halloween's the beginning of it all. It's a great time. Jay from Jay and Rob Toy Show last winter did a few videos taking his G.I. Joes out into the snow. He's up in Canada too. So those are a lot of fun to watch. I don't know.
There's a lot of us toy tubers.
Yeah.
From Canada.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Which is all good.
Happy.
I think it's great. I was actually looking at the analytics on my channel the other day because I just recently gained a couple more subscribers, and I was looking at some of the demographics that I had seen and only 47% of my watchers are from the U.S.
That's wild.
I should look at that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Now, the guy who does the Wake Up Heavy podcast, by the way, folks, if you like horror movies or cult movies, this is the best podcast in my opinion. I mean, he covers all the horror from 60s, 70s, 80s to now. Anyways, I was just talking to him, and he's always checking the demographics. He's always checking his stats on his podcast, and I needed to get better at that. But Wake Up Heavy podcast. That's how I worked in a plug for my friend.
Nice.
Hey, there you go.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Halloween is my favorite holiday. Definitely ours. I know Oz and I have talked about it. It's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah. Absolute favorite holiday. Like spooky season for me starts July 5th. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So shall I go ahead and get this open so it doesn't take
Let's do it.
Crack it open.
I've been anxious to get this thing open. I haven't done it yet. Let me see if I can figure out how to make the screen so that
There you go.
it works, right?
There it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
That'll work.
I don't know how I did that. So
unless you want to go full screen.
No. I want you guys on here.
Excellent.
So the illustrations are cool, of course. This is great. I won't spend too much time on this stuff because I know everyone in here probably watches these things already. And of course, Ray from Collecting Classics did his awesome unboxing as well. But let's get this out.
So
Ryan, did you get this one?
No, I passed on this one.
You passed on this one.
Yeah, I was like, I went from like wanting to go all in on Origins, like try to get everything because it was like new. And
Yeah.
then I was like, what am I doing? Like, calm down.
Yeah.
Take a breath. And so now I'm getting I decided I'm gonna get the characters I had and the characters I wanted as a kid but never got, because that's what let's face it, that's what this is really all about.
Yeah.
It's all about it's all about getting back that my parents never got this for me. How dare they?
Right.
You know, but it's but yeah, like that's pretty much what I've gone down to. Just who I've always wanted, never had, and who I had and loved and had adventures with. And I haven't unboxed any of them except for anything that's in the what are they called? The shield, the chest plate guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Battle
So
Armor.
any one of those characters that are like in the deluxe packaging, that's what it is.
Yes.
So any of the deluxe characters, I've taken them out because they're not in that original style packaging.
Okay.
But when I look at everything in that original style packaging, I can't do it because when I'm holding it, it takes me back to when I used to see them in the store, or when you'd get them on a birthday or whatever, and it just makes me feel so happy and nostalgic that I end up just keeping them in the package.
I gotta open mine. I gotta open them all. Gotta play with them. And I'm with you on that. It has to be the ones that I either had as a kid or really, really wanted as a kid. But with Origins, it's hard because, like, you know, where is he? Back here. King Randor. He's like this figure I never had, nor was I even that interested because, like you said earlier, Ryan, like when I moved out of toys, I got really into comics for a while. It was like when the '89 Batman hit the theaters, I was just digging into the DC comics like crazy, and I kind of pushed the toys aside, and I missed the boat on this. But so there's figures like that I'm like, oh, I can't like not try that out. But yeah, it's hard. I got a kick out of this. Thanos Copter and I are from the same area, and he said, "What is winter?" And yeah, we get like 2 months of cold here in Central California.
That's not cold.
December and January, and it's not cold. Oh, February, it bleeds into February too, but it's not cold like you guys get. It's
not even that cold up here in Vancouver as it is like back in, like once you get to Central Canada and Eastern Canada, it's way colder. Here we have like the mountains protecting us.
Right.
Beautiful.
Yeah, in Baltimore, like, I don't know, it's weird because December sometimes, like, we'll still have like all of a sudden out of nowhere a 60 or 70 degree week, and then next thing you know, like a week and a half from that, we're down into the teens, and it's like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, I wish there's times where I wish I've experienced really cold weather, and I've experienced like immediate fluctuations in weather by, you know, but I miss that sometimes living here in California. And I know that sounds crappy because some people are like, well, it's like always nice there, I guess. But you know, good turbulent weather is inspiring.
The most extreme weather I think that I've ever experienced is in the desert, like during the day, reaching, you know, hundreds of degrees, and then it hits night, and it's like, oh God, it got cold.
For sure. So I like that there are 3 of these, 1 in the middle and 2 on the sides to help keep the box from, I guess, rubbing against these plastic pieces, which are cool too.
Right.
But look at this. This is gorgeous. I mean, the box is phenomenal. I just spit all over my screen because I got too excited. But
oh no,
this is gorgeous. I want to build a motor so it opens and closes.
Oh, that would be a fun project to do. You could definitely.
You really want to open that? That looks so nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it.
All right.
Well, so this is the thing that's great about this is that you can open it and return the figures to.
Yeah.
Oh, you can just slide them out. Oh, perfect.
So that comes off.
And I love how it's both sides of that shell piece too. Is, they've got the red rock burst on the inside as well as on the outside for your viewing. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can have it with just like a virgin cover.
Yes, exactly. Look at how pretty this is. Little red ribbon here to pull it open. It's really nice.
That's cool.
Pretty. It's pretty. All right.
Did any of you get the Hellfire Club set from
n-
Marvel Legends?
Oh,
No,
I wanted it so bad.
no, I did not. Did you?
Oh yeah.
That was one of those. It's one of my more modern day grails to actually buy one of those. Because at the time I did not have the funds, and of course, it sounds stupid because now it's quite a bit more expensive than it used to be. But
I haven't even checked to see how much that is, but I remember
it's not
like
cheap.
it to me. That's one of the most beautiful packages I've ever
Yeah.
owned.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
Well, as soon as they announced Madeline Pryor with Ghost Rider, I was just like, "Ooh, let me go take a look." Ooh, still not going to happen with Eternia on the doorstep.
Yeah, yeah. I feel bad for those guys. I mean, the Eternia did kind of come in and kind of steal everybody's thunder.
Yeah, and
But already that like people were already kind of complaining that it's like this is not a Ghost Rider we know. And I
Yeah.
was saying this to Craig today too on the phone where I was just like, it just seems that our generation is kind of like stunted in this like this weird way of just like we're just like it's got to hit a nostalgic button or nothing.
Right.
And I was saying like how I kind of missed the 90s and the 80s when everything was just new.
yeah,
Like, and so even when they're making X-Men toys in the 90s, like those were all the latest current versions of those characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's like a struggle to get that.
well,
I want, unless it's Spider-Man. For some reason, Spider-Man, Marvel Legends, they'll pump out the characters that are appearing in the comics in the last like 5 years. Everything else just seems to kind of stagnate a little bit in the 90s, which isn't, I'm not complaining because it's great to have all these new toys based on these characters.
Sure.
At the same time, man, give me some Hellfire Club Gala X-Men. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
give me some of that.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no, go for it.
I think it's interesting. I think it's weird, and I understand it, but I also don't understand it. It's a weird. I have a conflict here internally, and I think a lot of toy collectors do. An IP, I mean, a character, an IP that are supposed to evolve, and
Yes.
every time a new iteration of something comes out, someone gets their feelings hurt, and I understand that, but also, like without the evolution of these characters or these storylines, what would we do? Just watch the same Filmation cartoons over and over again?
That's what some people want.
I'm okay with that. I totally am okay with that. But I also love I love to see new ideas emerge, whether they work or they don't work.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'd rather see people take chances, and I'd rather and this has been a thing ongoing with me for like the past like 10 years. It feels like I just want to see like new stuff.
yeah,
Right.
Like just something completely brand new. Like just that's it. I'd like to have that same feeling now as an adult that I did when you first discover something like He-Man, where you're like, what is this world?
yeah.
And you just without even seeing anything or reading anything, just by looking at characters like Skeletor, you already lose yourself in your imagination and what this could do. And I feel like the closest thing we have to that right now is Fortnite figures.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I agree.
I saw some Fortnite figures. I know nothing about Fortnite.
Same here.
Forgive me, but like I saw some Fortnite figures at a discount store here in town a few weeks ago, and I was like, I kind of want to. They're $6. I kind of want to get these things, and like because they were interesting. Like there was like a Sasquatch character in there, and a few other weirdos, and I love weirdos.
Me too.
Yes.
So here he is. And
Our first weirdo.
Here's our first weirdo. This is like the weirdo. I have to say, and for those of you that watch my channel, you know that I prefer the villains. He-Man, I have a nostalgic attachment to him, but I never had him as a kid, and I didn't really identify with him in the cartoon. But
Right.
I do really love the vintage face sculpt here. I love how bulky he is. And I've always loved that axe. And to see that axe, I don't know if you can see it, but there's even
Yeah,
like
it's
that
badass.
beautiful.
And Skelly, did you get the single carded He-Man 40th anniversary or no?
Yes, I did. And maybe I'll run to the other room and get him. I haven't opened him up, but maybe I'll do a separate video and compare the two.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that sounds like great content for this weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I'll do that this weekend.
I was going to say, I just reached behind me to grab mine. And
Oh, there you go.
One thing that I really like about this that I did, or yours that I didn't notice, was that almost metallic sheen that his armor has.
Yeah, there's
This is a very flat gray, and that's metallic.
oh yeah, I think they maybe did that because of the die-cast weapons, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was. But man, because it's funny. I've watched like a dozen videos of him already like this, and this is like my first time really noticing
Yeah,
that difference. Maybe it's because I actually have mine like right here that I was able to be like, oh hey, look at that difference.
yeah. I want to say his joints are tight. The
Mhm.
sword, and maybe it's the metal used for the die cast, but the sword in the camera almost has like a gold. Do you see that?
A
Almost
little
like
bit
a
of a
patina
glare, but I
to
think
it.
that could be reflection.
I think it's the light. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it could be.
right. Because looking at it, it's not. I don't get that at all. So it'll be
Right.
interesting when I take this out to take photos, what kind of effect happens. He is wearing less makeup than the other one, the one that
He
that
left the rouge off his cheeks.
yeah, he does have a little more makeup on, which is good. But I love the
Oh, man.
flocking of the loincloth and the top of the boots.
Yeah,
Everybody loves a flocked crotch, so
Everybody loves a flocked crotch.
everyone likes to get flocked.
Everyone
That's
likes to get flocked, yeah. And it's like yeah. All right. Now I'm really excited to look at Skeletor because this is the one I almost opened him first, but I was like, no, this is the one. Really
Yeah, I was a Skeletor kid too.
Yeah.
see.
But like outside of the villains, though, I think my favorite hero to play with was Skyclone and Buzz-Off.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Cyclone. Yeah.
I just,
You know-
I'm still waiting for that origin Skyclone. That's the
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's coming. I used to like him too. I know there's Matt Duch on the Legends of Grayskull podcast. He's a huge
Right.
Cyclone fan, and I had him as a kid, and I didn't really play with him that much. I don't know what it is, but I like him now.
He was like my alternate He-Man because I realized at that young age that he looked kind of like his face sculpt was almost the same as He-Man's.
It is.
If you look at
yeah.
Different hat,
and
a hat on him. Yeah.
yeah, he put on Darth Vader's helmet after he dipped it in a yellow bucket.
Exactly.
But I loved it because he had that radar on the chest.
Yes.
And just the way he spun around, the arms lifted up. I remember the commercial. That was the first time I can remember seeing a toy commercial and the toy commercial being like, I need that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was Skyclone. So he's always like he's a very vivid memory. And to me, and Buzz-Off is just like the dude's a bee. That's so cool.
He's a smiling bee.
He's just a happy bee.
Happy.
He might as well be like a Disney character, and yet at the same time he's buff and he's got the cool wings and
Claw hands and an axe.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to sit him next to my Honey Nut Cheerios when I was a kid too. Like this is the guy that made me eat them, not that silly cartoon bee. No.
All right.
Other silly cartoon bee.
That's right.
What everybody's wondering, or at least I am, the articulated jaw. I know that some people have gotten theirs and it didn't didn't stay closed or didn't stay open. This is good. It's nice and tight.
Oh yeah, that looks real. Like just seeing how you were moving it with your thumb there, it's like that is tight.
It stays closed and it stays open.
Could just
So,
Ah,
I love it. I love it. This guy's great. These figures have a lot of heft to them.
they look heavy.
They
Oh,
could be
yeah.
the extra weight in the chest, perhaps, but definitely the die-cast weapons. The Havoc staff is just
Sure.
the skull is just die-cast, but the horns are plastic, and the staff itself is plastic. But
That's fine. That looks cool.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Probably would have been too heavy to make the whole thing die cast.
I'm gonna put him
He
here.
looks fantastic.
Yeah, he looks great. He looks really good. That Skeletor's worth it. My wife got this for me for my birthday. My birthday was in September, and I was just chomping at the bit to get this.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm wondering if because like I know like Jay and Mad Hatter and several of the others that all did their reviews, they got theirs from SDCC.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if like those first batch ones that went out immediately from convention are because they're the ones that seem to have more of the problem with the loose jaw.
maybe.
So I'm wondering if the second batches that, had to wait to be shipped, if they found a way to tighten the jaw hinge up a little bit more, perfect it a little bit.
Maybe. That's a good question. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But
Yeah,
that was
right.
bad for the folks that like stood in line to get it, and you know,
And get lesser of a figure.
the ring, the
there's the ring.
So-
Grayskull ring.
There you put your
Which-
cocaine.
That's right.
Your white powder.
I mean, yes, white powder.
That's where you put the MSG.
That's where you put your MSG or baking soda.
Fun
Okay.
dip.
That's right. It's the fun dip. Yeah.
Do they still make fun dip?
Don't
do.
know.
They do. I know because our kids got some from Halloween a few years back.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm going to close these up. We won't look at the mini comics because everybody's looked at the mini comics, I'm sure. But they are beautiful reproductions of the vintage mini comics. The first two.
Right.
I am stoked. I'm stoked to have that set.
That is great.
Are you getting to wait? Did you guys say yet? Are you guys getting Eternia? Oh,
Well-
okay. I'll take that as a no.
Well, it's a difficult thing. Go ahead, Oz. You tell your story, and then I'll tell mine.
So I am actually just starting this past 2 weeks, just starting up my finally having a regular job with continual income again. So
Oh,
I'm
so that's
super
a yes
happy.
then. Okay,
And
cool.
as a matter of fact, I get paid tomorrow. So
Perfect.
it's happening. And I'm so glad because I was worried this thing was going to get announced and they were going to do all this and I wasn't going to be working. So as it sits, yes, I am definitely getting Eternia. It's happening.
Right.
It's been a dream of mine for ages, and I've even said like if I could, I'd buy one for everybody. I'd back the project by myself just so I can hand these out and laugh at scalpers and stuff too, because I would just hand them out to people.
I'd swap mine. I'd put Grayskulls in there and resell them.
How about you, Ryan? Are you getting it?
I don't think so. It's $1,000. It's double the price
Right.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Plus,
Yeah.
I had the original. This one I can probably live happily vicariously through the photos and stuff. And
Yeah.
again, too, like I was kind of saying this to Craig as well, where it's like my memories and of what I had with this is different than because I don't know anyone else who had this except for me.
Right.
So my memories include like not just using Masters of the Universe with this. I used to pretend this was like the inside of the containment unit for the Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
I used to use this with
very cool.
Visionaries.
Yeah.
This used to be Leoric's castle, right? Because it has the
Yeah.
lions and everything. I also used this with Battle Beasts,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Another great brand, by the way.
And so and of course, and He-Man as well, and
Yeah.
occasionally G.I. Joe, because there was the big snake on the one side, right? Like,
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
like I said, like this thing lasted through several different toy lines. And so to me, it's like, yes, it's Masters of the Universe. Of course, it's Masters of the Universe. To me, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, this is great, and I love all the updates. I want that boat monster so damn bad. I think it's great.
Right.
I think that's one of the best stretch goals. But if I don't get it, I'm not going to be completely heartbroken, because I have already so many memories with it. And for anyone that's able to get this now, I am super stoked for them, because I'm hoping this will make memories, not just for
Yeah.
themselves, but hopefully for their kids, if anyone's got
Yes.
kids.
Grandkids.
And I've said this before too, and I know this is going to sound absolutely crazy. I don't care if you're 30, 40, 20, 16, and you're getting this. Do yourself a favor, lose yourself for an afternoon, play with it.
Yes.
Set up your
Yeah.
characters, make an adventure, have the monorail going. Just take a day to experience what I was fortunate enough, by absolute fluke, to have. And I'm pretty sure my parents got this, again, probably on deep discount. I got it
Yeah.
on a
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
morning. At this point too, like, you gotta remember, by the time I had this, I was already like knee deep in real Ghostbusters.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this is like,
Uh-huh.
but I was also one of those kids too that didn't mind going back and playing with his He-Man, even though it wasn't cool anymore. Because it's my bedroom, it's my time, I could do whatever I want.
I played with He-Man for like he was always my favorite, and by the time this goes directly into like Star Wars collecting and stuff like that. Like by the time Power of the Force 2 was finally coming out, it wasn't that I'd lost interest in He-Man. I just actually lost most of the accessories,
Right.
and several of the toys had broke and stuff like that because they were well loved. Um, and it's just one of those things. Like then Star Wars came out, and I'd always been a fan of the movies, but trying to find the toys when I was a kid, you couldn't find them in stores anymore. They were already pretty much off shelves.
Mhm.
Because I was way too young when they were still on shelves, because so small figures with small accessories, my parents weren't letting me have those. I picked up a couple at yard sales, but most of those didn't come with like all the accessories or the capes or anything. So it was pretty hard to come by. And when Star Wars Power of the Force 2 was announced, like it wasn't that I lost my love of He-Man, there just was no He-Man anymore. And
That's
then
where garage sales come into play.
right.
Exactly.
Well, then Star Wars took over, and it was just like, boom. I make everybody feel old, including myself.
Bobby, I'm with you, man.
But I didn't have a lot of Star Wars growing up, though. Like, I think I had like a bunch. I had Ewoks and Darth Vader, and that's not a fair fight.
No, that's not a fair fight at all. That's just Darth
Not at
Vader
all.
kicking little furballs around.
Yeah, so I mostly, like, if I was playing Star Wars, like back with the old '80s ones, it was the actual real vintage ones. It
Yeah.
was usually at my cousin's place. They had like all of them. So
Oh, that's great.
we'd always go play with those. And when they came over to my place, we'd play with the toys they didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I collected instead, right? So
Yeah. I want to go back and just point out something, just not to change the subject, but because we'll get back into it. But I just want to say that Nolan was kind of on a roll up here when we were talking about Buzz Off. Nolan said they need Seinfeld to do the new Buzz Off voice.
yes,
I'd be down
I
with
love
that.
that nod.
Yeah,
I hope they give him a
totally.
sweater.
Yeah, totally. And then
Need
then
that.
we were looking at the Grayskull ring.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty good.
God, Nolan, that was awesome. I'm sorry we missed that earlier, but that's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I know it's, for me at least. I'm going to say I've got a plan, and that's about as far as I can go with that. I
Okay.
think the plan is going to pan out, but it's still it's still I'm still sort of holding my breath, so to speak. But I am working on something, and someone else is working on something, and hopefully it'll come around, and it'll be the whole experience if it plays out the way it seems to be playing out. It'll be documented here on the channel. So
right now, I will say, even if don't be on the fence about getting this. If you're teetering on it, just teeter towards getting it.
Yes, otherwise it'll be a huge regret. Yeah.
Right, and you'll never be able to afford. You didn't think you could afford this a week ago?
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to be able to afford it a month from now.
Yeah,
I agree.
So this is almost a Hail Mary now or never on getting an Eternia.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. I totally agree with you, Ryan.
Right? I think the only reason why I would want this one, like, I don't have the space for this. I don't know what. And first, Space Danger, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Two, like, that Canadian price is astronomical, and I still have trouble justifying it for something that I kind of already own the original of.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to justify the price.
Yes.
But I would want it just because it looks like they're going to add connectors to Snake Mountain, which has also been announced and coming out.
Yes.
As well as Castle Grayskull, which is the one thing I've always wanted to do.
Yes.
The only two playsets I had for Masters was this and the Fright Zone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I didn't have Castle Grayskull growing up, didn't have Snake Mountain, but I had this and I had the Fright Zone.
Yeah.
I also had the Ice Castle from
what was that, Black Star?
Black Star, yeah.
Yeah.
I still got 2 of his dragons.
Oh, man. That was a really, you've got to show those off on an episode of something sometime soon.
They're back at my parents' place. Last time I was there, I went and my parents and we just chilled out and had a drink and cleaned toys.
That's
nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
My mom going, I remember you getting this. And I was like, yeah, me too.
Well, your parents, of course, they remember all of it because they paid.
Well, here's what's funny. It's just like, I was always kind of wondering why I always got more villains in Masters. And it came down to, my parents are just like, Skeletor looked like a badass. He looked so metal. Right. How could we not get him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So metal.
They were living vicariously through us too in the 80s, even though it's like, I can't imagine my parents doing what we're doing right now.
Right.
Just because of their generation and how it is. But at the same time, they were toy hunting too, and they were just living vicariously through us to get it. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's what my dad did with this because, I mean, I've had my baby pictures basically posted on here of me meeting He-Man back then and opening up all of these, for like Christmas and everything like that. And it's like, I was so young. I know that, I mean, maybe I pointed to this stuff in the store and said, ooh, or something like that. But I have a feeling my dad was just like, this thing looks cool. He's getting this.
I think there was a lot of that happening at my place for sure. Right. My sister too. Like she's got some, like, she still has, like, oh gosh, she never got rid of anything either. So she still has her My Little Pony castle.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like, she's got all those pony play sets, and
wow.
Yeah, she's kept all of that. She has like the old 80s Barbie camper. She's got that in really good condition too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, you know what? You have a question up here. I want to post it back up again. But Thanos Copter had a good question. Is your ice castle still intact? I heard they get very brittle. I've heard that too.
Okay, so for anyone that hasn't owned one, I will say that was one of that I remember having it, and of course being just a kid. I don't know, maybe I'm just a more appreciative kid, because you always hear kids of like, I hated my parents got me that. I was never that kid.
Thank goodness you weren't.
Yeah. I remember having it and still just kind of being like, you could set it up, but you had to be like super extra careful because it was flimsy.
Yeah.
And there's that top part that's like the fork on the top.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was like kind of loosely pegged in.
Yeah.
So you had to like push it in and then hope to God you don't bump it.
Yeah.
And all the like the glow in the dark gargoyles that were like in the front. You had to be careful. Like you move the castle once, and it just like that stuff all falls off.
Yeah.
Right. But it is pretty brittle. I think mine. I checked my parents' garage to see if it's still there, but I haven't seen it in years. I am pretty sure that thing shattered.
Well, Ryan, here's a proposal. Take your camera into the garage, open up those boxes, pull them out, record the whole process, and then the three of us can talk about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll be the toy hunt that time forgot.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. I haven't seen it. Yeah, I'll have to check and see if it's there or not. Might be worth having to video, but we'll but again too, like, you know, I had again, that's the first place that I really remember getting.
Yeah.
And I used it just like anything else. And I mixed my Black Star and my He-Man figures all the time. Those little gnomes that came with Black Star, those little dudes.
Yeah.
I used to they would hang out with I didn't have the Orko toy right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an Orko stamp. That was like a little mini Orko figurine that was actually more in scale with the with the figures, and I used that as that's what I played with for my Orko.
Yes.
Me too, up until I got the actual Orko myself. It was the same way. It was like oh god, it wasn't quite like these guys, you know, the little ones. He was a little bit bigger than that, but I think he might have been like one of the erasers or something.
Yeah,
I remember I had
pretty big. I still
eraser.
You know what's in my living room? I have on display. I have some old Transformers erasers from the 80s, and they're like still minty fresh.
I remember those.
I love those things. They had them for every franchise back then, and they were amazing erasers. I remember playing with them like a lot.
Yeah,
not erasing anything, just playing with erasers.
Oh, totally. Gamer Bud's got a good title idea for your video, Black Star: The Shattering.
Yeah. Well, it's an ice castle, right? So it
is nice.
Exactly. And Vintage MOTU chimed in with Trobbits, yes.
Trobbits, that's it. Thank you.
Yep. And I have a bunch of those old Black Star Demon minifigs. Love those dudes. Yeah, me too, Thanos Copter. Love those.
Yeah,
oh, man,
I think
they were so
Black
great.
Star is just one of those cartoons that's just criminally underrated.
Yes, absolutely. I watched. There's a couple of episodes on YouTube I've found, and I enjoyed watching them.
Yeah, today that cartoon today would be called woke, and it would be hated by certain news outlets.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh God, yeah. It'd be you know, blamed for pushing agendas and everything else.
Oh, that one more so than I think G.I. Joe.
Oh, right.
Because G.I. Joe is also definitely pushing. So that was pushing more toys out the store.
Right.
But there's
they had a
agendas
toy
there
for
too.
everybody.
There's going on. Certainly some other stuff going on.
Yep. Well, let's all be real. Let's all accept the fact Duke was a Republican.
Yeah.
Him and I'm pretty sure General Hawk too.
Oh, Hawk, for sure. 100%. 100%.
That's what we got to do. We got to do another show called the Politics of G.I. Joe.
Politics, like Saturday morning politics, is what we can call it.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. There's not enough Saturday morning shows anymore, and they don't have Saturday morning politics. Yeah. There we go. Yes, we'll all sit around with cereal bowls.
That's good.
Oh God. Toys and politics. There we go. This is it.
Yeah.
The politics of toys. That's it.
Yeah. So we have another conversation set up for tonight, and so Ryan, you and I texted about this earlier. I said, "What are your top 5 proposed to be released Masters of the Universe figures?" And I kept it fairly vague. And you're like, "All I can think about right now is Eternia," and I'm paraphrasing. Apologies if I don't.
You're pretty spot on there.
Yeah. And I totally understand that, because that's and also, you know, I think we're all kind of starting a Masters of the Universe hangover. It's going to kick in this weekend after such an incredibly intense week, and it's going to be hard to watch whatever happens with Eternia. And yeah, it's been like 2 weeks of
just toy news.
Ultimate, like the ultimate party, nostalgia party in all of our hearts and brains.
We went from what was it, the Engine of Vengeance announcement to PulseCon, to New York City Comic Con, and then straight from New York City Comic Con, not even a breath.
No.
One grunt, blink, and a fart, and bang, Eternia.
Yeah.
And then all these other announcements with MOTU.
And Eternia had been part of the conversation ever since last week, and then you get Snake Mountain. And
it was like they were stealing PulseCon's thunder. Didn't even want to give New York Comic Con a try.
Yeah, I don't know if they were. It was just they kind of timed it just right, because PulseCon was really weird this year.
Yeah,
because it felt like it's fun. Like, it is still super fun to watch, but something totally felt like, buy this. And I think it was that whole like pushing of, oh, good night, vintage MOTU. They were pushing so hard on that selfie series.
Yeah.
That it was just like, is this all you got this week? Like,
yeah,
right.
I know. Sorry, go ahead, Oz.
I was gonna say, and it's like so limited too. Like what you can get yourself put on. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to put myself as a Ghostbuster. So I totally can dig it. Not for $80. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
60, I was thinking about it. And then they were like, oh yeah, it's $80. And it's like, yeah, no.
Yeah, or just even how like because they have like a certain shaped head, so no matter what your face looks like, they're just gonna try to mold it onto this basic shaped head.
Right.
So everyone's doesn't look like them.
Right. I mean, I got a wide jaw and a fat face, and they're gonna put it on that.
They're gonna put it on John Hamm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna look good.
If I'm going to spend $90, I want to be able to get this haircut on the action figure, and I want to get these glasses on the action figure.
I want this beard in there.
Yeah, and that to have to conform to a particular. It's just like, and Oz and I were talking about this. He's like, "Do you have one of those Instagram icons yet?" And so I had made one like months ago for Facebook, and then I made another one recently, and it's not me because it's not everything that I wish I could have a Wake Up Heavy t-shirt or a Skeletor t-shirt and have these exact glasses and this exact haircut, but there's got to be, with all the 3D printing technology for $90, it's got to exist, and that got to exist. And Funko Pops, how much are those personalized ones? I know you can get personalized.
My buddy just got one. I think it's under $20.
Under $20 for a personalized Funko Pop. Sure, it's like generalized because the Funko Pop face is generalized.
Right, that's their style.
But it's a stylized that's kind of brilliant, and for under $20, that makes sense.
Who doesn't want to spend that kind of money to put themselves as something like that's
fun.
Can totally do that. It fits in if you have a Funko collection. It's perfect.
See what I did? All I had to do was get a Red Guardian figure. I took Dave Harbour's head. I put it on a Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
Bang, me.
There you go.
It's more you than the selfie series you would be.
It's true.
Yeah. J. Andrew, flocked beard? Yes, of course. The beard would have to be flocked.
Yeah.
It's funny you should bring that up.
Just like He-Man's undies.
Yeah, just like He-Man's crotch.
That's right.
So what are you, beard-wise? Are you He-Man's loincloth, or are you Grizzlor's back?
Oh, that's a great question.
And that's a question for everybody. You can all contemplate that for a while. What beard?
I don't know.
Chat. Put it
Am
in the
I
chat.
like a month away from tidying? I guess it would depend. Is it tidy me out for a night on the town, or is it like home from work me?
Oh yeah,
Work
that's
from home,
true.
right? Then it would be
It's
Grizzler.
an important part.
Is it morning you, or is it at work you? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would definitely make mine like Moss Man, where I had that that
Pine
musky
scented.
smell.
Yeah.
Not stinkor.
No.
No,
Mind you.
not
It'd be
patchouli.
it would be more
Pine.
it'd be more of a pine scent. So
It's like
that
a
way you knew it was
sandalwood.
Canadian.
There needs to be Masters of the Universe beard oils, and there needs to
Yeah.
be the Moss Man beard oil and the Stinkor beard oil. And I know people that would go either way on those.
Oh yeah, me too.
So
If you get
Scary
the
thought, but yeah.
Stinkor beard oil, you also need to get the ring of powder.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I love the Stinkor smell. I would get there's a Dan Rice that I met on Facebook because he has a whole wall of Stinkors. I was like, man, that room must smell fantastic. Like, but I don't know if I could like carry it around on my beard all day.
Yeah, I don't know if I could live in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want it that close to my nose for hours on end.
What a cool gimmick that was.
Oh my god,
The
yeah.
smell gimmick was just like unreal.
Yeah.
When you're that age, you know.
Oh.
What?
I totally told the story before about my dad. Like growing up, they were buying me all the figures and everything like that. And then my dad suddenly he owned this one figure and would not open it. And it was Stinkor. And I didn't figure it out until years later. He didn't want me to open it and have it in my toy box and my entire room smelling like Stinkor. He
Wow.
kept it in the package in his room upstairs because my dad slept in the attic. It was a finished attic, and he kept that thing up there until my house burned down. That was an unopened Stinkor figure.
Oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah, and he always said it was his figure. He bought it for me and realized, like, because let's face it, that smell permeated that package.
And I'm gonna say this is a true triumph of toy making.
He still smells.
Still smell.
Yep, my vintage one still smells too.
And
Mine too.
that to me is how you do it. If you're gonna do Stinkor,
Right.
this has got to last. And the new Stinkor just doesn't have a smell. It's so disappointing.
He's got a little smell, but not enough. And
Not
it's like
enough.
I've seen people do like an eyedropper thing where they drop a little bit, in the they pop out the arms
Yeah.
and then they drop the oil in the sockets and then pop the arms in the sockets. And apparently that does tend to do a decent job, but I guess it's because they infused like the plastic with it is
Yeah.
what made it stay. Because people have said already that it doesn't last. And like I said, I have a vintage Stinkor myself now. It's not that original one, of course, but we're talking about a toy that was made 40 years ago and it still has a smell. It may not be as strong, but the fact that it's more potent than the brand new figure that just came out last year.
Oh, definitely. The new smell on the new figure. Well, first of all, it's blasphemous that the Masterverse Stinkor didn't have a smell.
Right.
But that's a whole other story. That figure is beautiful, but it's too bad.
Dare
It
they?
no.
What about the Four Horsemen one for Mythic Legions?
I was really disappointed about that. Sorry, Four Horsemen guys, you're all awesome. That figure is absolutely beautiful, and the Origins figure is beautiful, and the Masterverse figure is beautiful. But if it's Stinkor, it's got to have a smell. It's got to have
Right.
a smell. So people who have responded, everyone that's responded so far is full on Grizzlor.
Right.
As far as beards go, no one else has said no one said Stratos. No one said He-Man's loincloth, so we've got Grizzlors in the audience, and that's fantastic.
See,
Right.
it's funny. I mentioned growing my beard back out again on the last stream, and well, somebody complained to me that I wasn't going to keep it short. So I don't know. I'm a little
What?
torn on what I should do because I like the longer beard, but
Do it how you want it.
Do it. That's exactly right. Do it how you want it.
Unless it's gonna get you some action. If you're gonna get sex from it, then
Yeah.
then trim it.
Yeah, for sure. Moss Man is supposed to have a smell. Hopefully, they do a better job with him. Yeah, we're with you.
See, I didn't even open up my origin. Well, again, I didn't open up any of those origins that are in the old style packaging.
It has like a plastic smell. Is the best way I can describe it. Like almost
like a new toy smell.
Yeah, like a new toy smell with a little bit of maybe like a little bit more of that.
Right, like it's a more intense plastic smell.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, here you go.
Like,
whoever said that about your beard can get flocked. Yeah, the smell, you're not missing much, Ryan. So.
No, because I love seeing it in the package.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
And the Stinkor packages are sealed. So most of the Origins figures have a little vent down at the bottom, but the Stinkor one should be complete. The cardboard should go all the way down past the vent area.
Oh,
yeah.
Didn't even realize that. That's hilarious.
To air it out, and that should be closed on yours. So I'd have a look at that.
Right.
They must have realized that there wasn't enough stink to keep,
That's exactly
stick around, so they had to seal it in there as much as they could, and it's still all leaked out.
Yeah, I think so. So we have a little thing. We're going to talk about our top 5 forthcoming releases, and Oz and I have determined our top 5 forthcoming releases. And Ryan, I know that when you see these images, you're going to be like yes or no or however you're going to feel about it.
I will give an opinion based on how I feel.
That's right. And maybe even like think of other things too. So who should go first, Oz, you or me?
You go ahead and throw mine up first. I'm fine with that.
Alrighty. All right. So now you said to make sure you end with one particular thing. So I have that the second to last slide with a little surprise slide at the end. But we'll so the first 4
is the last slide the friends we made along the way.
Yes, exactly that. Now it's also this is your life.
It wouldn't be MOTU without it.
Yeah,
correct.
Exactly. So what are his favorites?
Yeah, I mean, like, out of the last 2 weeks, we've had so much, like, new images and everything, and it's like they showed them off at San Diego Comic-Con, but kind of like in the back, kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And even though this was not my favorite He-Man toy growing up, I like this Origins version. I love that gold power sword that's coming with it. The fact that they've kept that for the new toy, I think is great. I mean, we briefly talked about the fact that you can't put caps in them and make them, do a thunder punch anymore. But I mean, we get a cool punching fists. So, that's pretty cool. I'm down with it. So he was definitely one of my top picks just because, again, overall, like, there's so many different parts of this that just kind of hit the mark. And like Ryan was saying, like, the deluxe figures all come in this bigger box, this bigger blister pack. And, there was not, this is not the way most of the toys were released back in the 80s. But Thunder Punch was one of the few that came on these bigger cards. So, like, I really like the aesthetic of the packaging with the new Snake Man refresh and the gold sword. I love it.
Yeah. Ryan, did you ever have this figure as a kid?
No, I actually only had one Skeletor, which was the basic bitch Skeletor.
Oh yeah.
But that one's so cool. It's just I didn't need anything
Arguably
else.
the best.
And I had Battle Armor He-Man.
Oh yeah.
Again, one of the best gimmicks ever in toys. And I remember when Hot Wheels, which is also ran by Mattel, when they did that too with Crash Cars. Brilliant stuff. But like it's funny. Like now that I see these, like when I got Pixel Dan's book and was really going through all the different variations of He-Man and She-Ra, and all of She-Ra's like you buy outfits for her and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you know what? I think this is just something I always come to appreciate later on. Something I didn't care about in my teens when I was first collecting. I was like, I don't want this sonar blast electric Batman. I want just
Right.
Batman. But now, like, as something changed in my 20s, and I was like, I like this goofy shit.
Yeah.
I like toys looking and feeling like toys, and I love gimmicks. I love it and I think this came with like when I
Yes.
started reading more comics too, because as when characters change their costumes and I get them updated, especially in the 90s, right? Like it's
More
to
pouches.
me, this was just part of that, and I kind of grown to really kind of love this stuff.
Yeah.
When any character does it, and they get like a just an updated look, certain gear, certain powers for certain missions, and
That's right.
I'm all about that.
Yeah, it's cool. Have they, Oz, and maybe you said it and I missed it, and I apologize, but did they announce whether or not he twists and has the spring, like the waist spring action, like the like the vintage figure?
As far as I know, he does not.
Yeah, see that's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
I love the chest armor on this guy.
Sure. And I mean, that's it's one of the things that they were talking about on that panel at San Diego Comic-Con is unfortunately it seems like moving forward we might get a little less gimmicky because they are finding out that so many people are having fun with the modularity
Yeah,
that
yeah,
in order to keep that modularity function
yeah,
they have to lose some of the gimmicks, which is why we're seeing things like Mechanic and Ratlore do not have the spring-loaded action. They just get a neck piece. Uh, Cobra Khan and Camo Khan, neither will actually do the water, but they're giving it that little extra piece to make him look like he's spitting. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's a little unfortunate, but I mean, for them, I guess it's a little bit easier because it saves on having to figure out how to kind of keep the engineering going,
yeah,
because I mean, like on all of the deluxe figures that we've had so far, you you lose a lot of the modularity.
yeah.
You can take the legs off, but you can't do any arm swaps. So I mean, I get it, but I mean, you still kind of miss that function because I mean, we all remember our He-Man toys having that spring-loaded action where they could just punch, and
I think I think you're
this
right.
would be the figure to have it.
Yeah, I think you're right though. The modularity might be the gimmick of this whole line that makes it sort of worth it and fun in the long run.
Right.
So yeah. Next on your list is Frogmonger.
He's just so cool. Like, I'm sorry for such a beyond tertiary character.
Yeah,
It's a sticker come to life, and I love that about it. And Axel has been teasing this guy like pretty much since almost like wave one, really, at this point. you know he's just been teased and teased and teased, and everybody said, are we gonna get him, are we gonna get him? And now he's coming out, and I think it's funny because I definitely realize what they're doing here. If you look at his hands, you look at his feet, I know you don't see him like really great, but the sculpting they use for it is the same as tongue lashers, and they had tongue lasher at San Diego Comic-Con. So I think they're like, okay, well, tongue lasher's coming and he's gonna have this kind of frog-esque, kind of look. And I bet you once we get Frogmonger in, uh-oh, we lost Skelevator.
Uh-oh. Well, keep going.
All right, that's cool. We got this, Ryan. We could totally carry the show. But we got this very frog-esque looking character, and Tongue Lasher was always kind of very frog-esque looking in his appearance for his body and in his legs. So I mean, I had to go with him because I just think he's a he's a really cool looking dude.
That's See, he was just in the artwork. Is that his deal?
He was a sticker, the dungeon grade for Castle Grayskull. It
That's
had
it.
all those little creatures and stuff in it. and Tongue Lasher, or I'm sorry, Frogmonger was one of them in there. And when they redid the sticker for the current Castle Grayskull, they specifically left him out. And
Right.
Axel started popping him on different packages. And so like now they're bringing him as an actual character. I don't know if I gotta talk with Axel a little bit more. It was funny. I'm in a couple of the different Facebook groups and stuff like that for He-Man, and somebody asked questions about all of these different kind of Easter eggs on the boxes, like what's this, what's this. And I went through and I actually answered with pictures for everything. Like that was one of them. One of the vehicles on one of the other packages. Are you back with us, Skelevator?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I lost internet completely over here. I'm glad that you all kept going.
Oh yeah,
We're professionals.
we got this. We know what we're doing.
I, I,
So
I have no. It's amazing. I had no idea that it would keep going for everyone else if I was cut out. So that's such a relief.
well, it happened to me last week when we did our Eternia special.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It kicked me out, and I mean, well, we already had five others. You know, you and Jay and everybody were still there, so you guys could keep going with it. So that was great. Like you guys were able to keep that going, and you know, it's me and Ryan. So I mean, that's a
Yeah.
perfect duo to keep things going. I was just explaining about how I briefly interacted and I've spoken with Axel about his little Easter eggs on the packages because somebody was asking about them in a Facebook group, and I went ahead and I answered all the questions. And then Axel jumped in and he was like, "Well, I was going to come and give answers, but somebody already beat me to it." So, uh, yeah, just didn't mean to flex so much knowledge on them, but I mean, it's just I love MOTU and I love so much about it. I've been, I've researched it ever since I was a little kid. So,
Right.
just knowing what these different things were, and now to see, again, like I say, just a sticker brought to life. And I'd like to thank Axel because I'm sure it was him and all the fans asking about it that really got this figure to get pushed.
Definitely.
And he's perfect for an exclusive. He's not a main character. He's beyond tertiary, really. And it's like, okay, that's definitely your Mattel Creations exclusive. It's not key for anybody's collection except for, well, people like me.
Yeah. I love this guy, and I just love the name that they gave him too, Frogmonger. I'd like to know
Right.
more about how they came up with that. Did this show up at some point in one of the comics? Like, how did they come up with that? I love that name.
Well, maybe we'll find out in the mini comic.
We will, I'm sure. And also King Hiss.
He was one of my favorite toys as a kid growing up because I love reptiles. So I was
Mm,
automatically a fan of all snake men. And like his sculpt as a kid, although it was kind of lacking, like, he had like these little stubby snake arms,
yeah,
but they had to fit it inside the pieces that were more like the rest of the figures. So I totally get why he wasn't that impressive. And to me, this just hits all the marks because it's like, they've beefed him up, they've made him look more impressive, and yet he still has like, in my opinion, he still has all the features that he would have, when I was a kid. It's, instead of just swapping or popping off arm pieces that fit over top of it, well, now they're just capitalizing on their modularity that they already have. And it's given them a better option than trying to fit little tiny snakes in those arms.
yeah, yeah,
So
for
he's
sure.
definitely one of my top picks. And again, I'm loving this refresh that they're doing with the rise of the Snake Men.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, these are cool. This one's especially cool just because they're now making things portioned correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
I always felt like, even as a kid, I felt like this was he was related to Serpentor in some capacity. And
Yeah.
this is the link between, this guy is the link between, they are the link between both IPs.
Right.
There's a lot of a similar aesthetic going on here.
Well, there was a battle beast as well that was a snake and had
Mhm.
2 other snakes for arms as well.
Oh, that's right.
There
That's,
is a
Yes.
there it is this is a thing.
yeah, it is a thing. Yeah. And you also put the Eternia playset.
How could I not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, anybody who's a MOTU fan right now, this is it's on your mind, whether you're mad and ticked off or whether you're all about it and so happy that it's coming. I mean, since this thing was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, it has been all over the place.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about it ever since. It's got to be, Craig called it last year. I don't know if he had some kind of foresense about this coming out this year, but him announcing Year of the Playset and this being announced this year, I don't know whether that influenced Mattel or
Well, his whole
or
thing of year of the playset when he started that had nothing to do with this.
well, no, because who saw this coming? Nobody
It had
saw
nothing to
this
do with
coming.
Masters of the Universe,
Nothing.
anything. It was about the Filmation Ghostbusters Ghost
Right.
Command. That's what it
Yeah.
was about.
Yeah, of all long forgotten play sets too, Ghost Command from the GoBot Ghostbusters. um, it's like wow. And then he made that announcement last year, and now here Mattel's like, okay, you want Year of the Playset? We're dropping bombs. We're giving you Eternia, and then I mean, what more can we say about this thing? Like the improvements that they made to it are
Mhm.
amazing, and it's scaled even larger. I saw a funny post today in one of those Facebook groups actually, where this guy has this. It's sitting up in like his shelf, and he's like, "I've ordered the new one, so I decided I needed to get my space ready for it." Mind you, this thing's not coming out for like
Yeah.
what over a year.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so he's like, had to get my space ready for it. And then he goes, and then I realized one thing about it. Pixel Dan's video says it's about 5 inches taller, and
Oh,
his, with no flags on top, just barely fits in the
oh, no.
space he has
Yeah.
for it. And this tower's taller.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Like, ooh, that's rough. So he's not going to be able to store it where it was. He's going to have to make some adjustments. And I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was in that group that posted that, but you were definitely you helped me laugh today. So thank you.
I don't know about you all, but part of the thing that I enjoy about toy collecting is reorganizing and reorganizing the display areas.
Hmm.
And so to me, that would be a problem that would be an exciting problem. Like,
Right.
oh,
It's a new
crap,
project.
if you get
It's
it
a
in the mail.
champagne problem.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right. So shall we see what your final choice is?
Oh, do it. Yes. This. And I
Now,
chose this image
what is this again?
specifically.
Now, what is this again, Oz?
Well, I think we all know this is Snake Mountain. And as we all suspected and hoped for since the beginning of the year, we were hoping that this announcement would get made. And then we got shocked that, Eternia was announced
Yeah.
instead.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, but we want Snake Mountain still. And I think a lot of people, it was like, well, they already kind of figured they weren't going to be able to afford Eternia. So Snake Mountain was like, okay, that's the next thing that we want anyway is Snake Mountain. And I get that. And everybody's right. Like, as great as I think Eternia is, I totally understand why some people aren't as impressed about it. But this, I think, is something that everybody can
Yeah.
really appreciate. And I didn't realize growing up how many people did not have Snake Mountain in their, toy rooms and stuff like that. So I think this is a great opportunity for fans who missed out on Snake Mountain
Mhm.
as a kid to be able to get that now. And what I really like about it, and I've said it on several shows, that when we get Snake Mountain, I hope they do something more for the interior of this playset, because the interior on the original Snake Mountain is severely lacking. Like,
Yeah.
it's all the features is on the outside, which I get. It's a mountain, you know? Features are on the outsides of mountains. Very few mountains actually have cool cave systems inside. But, it was one of these things that I really, really wanted to see something new on the interior. Seeing the improvements they made on just the interior of Castle Grayskull made me hope we would get something like that with Snake Mountain, and this is beyond the expectation.
Yeah.
It's truly beyond what I thought we would get. Um, I like the fact that they're adding more of a spire to Snake Mountain, making it more mountain-like.
Mm-hmm.
The newer snake is, I know this is again really early on, so most of these might not actually make it towards the end, but I love that. I love the idea behind modularity with the jail. It's like, well, we're not going to give you a dinky net anymore. We want you to be, and I think because they showed that feature working, that I really hope that that stays until this comes out. But moving the jail cell from beneath the wolf door to, underneath the throne room with what looks to be yet another trapdoor gimmick,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Just, there's so many more play features with the Snake Mountain than my original one, and I love it. Absolutely love it. But that's why I chose this, because it's not just so much that we're getting Snake Mountain, it's we're getting Super 7 Junior here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I can't, it's going to be so much better. And yeah, I think it totally, and price wise, I know this isn't going to break people's banks to get. It's not an Eternia.
Yeah, this one will probably still be under $100. I'm going to assume.
I think 100 at the most.
Right.
Ryan, you think you're going to get this?
Oh yeah.
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 Go
Oh,
ahead.
for sure. This is cool. This is just super cool.
Yeah, I would get if it didn't have any of the other stuff that they added into the interior and just had the bone throne, I'd still be on board at $100 price point.
Yeah.
Right.
That bone throne made me so happy.
It's so cool.
I was thinking about it the other night too when we were doing our live special that we had. I've realized that the whole reason Skeletor truly wanted to get the power of Grayskull had nothing to do with that. The power of Grayskull was the fact that Grayskull had a throne and Snake Mountain had Jack inside of it. There was nothing. He had a hammock. He was tired of that. He just wanted to sit down.
He had
Well,
nowhere to sit.
the whole thing with the toys to begin with was that this was a battle area, not a lair, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
And the whole thing was like whoever had the swords, depending on your
Mhm.
imagination, would be the ruler of Grayskull. So
That's
that
right.
could have been Skeletor's throne if that's just the route you chose as a kid.
Exactly. That was the motivation behind it. He wanted to control Castle Grayskull because he was tired of standing.
Yeah.
Now, John has a good question here. Does it bother anyone that we don't have a microphone on this Snake Mountain, and it doesn't bother him too much? Well, I don't know, guys. Do you think they're going to? Did they say anything? I don't recall them saying anything about there being a microphone in the announcement. So, does that mean that they'll work one in, or does that mean that they just will avoid it?
It was said that they would like to, but they're not sure yet because it's still so early on. So
I
that doesn't mean we won't get it.
Right. And I'm with John and with Thanos Copter on this. I don't mind not having the mic.
Right.
Ryan, do you need the mic?
To me, the Eternia still feels like more of an adult collectible piece.
Yes.
Where this one does not. Like the whole entire Origins line to me still feels like it's more aimed towards kids.
Yes.
Collectors can enjoy them too.
Yeah.
but I still feel like more parents are going to want to give their kids this or Origins line before they do get them Masterverse or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that said, thinking from a kid standpoint, if they don't know it wasn't supposed to have one, it ain't going to hurt them. So if it doesn't happen, it's probably not going to be a big deal. But I mean, that was a pretty cool plaything. So if I'm thinking of it, the kids now have so much more to their Snake Mountain than we did.
Yeah.
So not like they
Yeah.
do need it, but come on, anything extra is always a bonus. So
Yeah.
I'm all for it if they decide to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you really want a microphone in there, you can buy a cheap Bluetooth speaker, hook it up to your phone, and boom, you've got your microphone. Do you got to buy a little extra? Sure. But Corey was in the chat the other night, and he even said he could do it with his Echo. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
Done deal.
Brick something said similar, like you could do they could do cooler effects with an app and a Bluetooth speaker, but we can add that to our
That's right.
playset ourselves with the technology we have.
I mean, I'm already planning on trying to do something with lights. So,
Are you ready for the last slide?
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
And it's funny, you just said do something with lights, and that made me think about something I've been thinking about trying to create with my vintage Snake Mountain. And I'm curious to know if I could like use this on the new one when I get it too. But I kind of want to make a resin like red falls that can sort of cover the crack between the two halves. You know, it has like the blood
lava falls.
The lava falls. So light inside of that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially if you got like cascading LEDs, so you could actually make it look like it's flowing.
Yeah.
And they definitely have those that you can get. So
yeah.
Yep. That's awesome.
Right here, another complete and total exciting. I'm glad to see he's finally getting his action figure. You know, I don't know why he went so hard on St. Patty's Day, but maybe he's Irish. I don't know enough. However, this right here, this is another one of those things that just made my day.
It's so funny. Where did you find this?
Again, just another one of the Facebook groups. I was trying to scroll and look for, you know, the different shots of the different things without all the, you know, not that I'm not trying to give anybody credit for the pictures they take or anything.
Yeah.
But I like the cleaner images without all the watermarks all over them. And I just happened to stumble across this, and I was like, "Oh, that's genius!
That's awesome."
Genius.
He is brighter, though. Is it me?
He looks a little brighter, but I don't know if somebody put a filter on that or what.
So this is my list, and the first one on my list is Mossman.
Yeah, and a good reason too.
I'm really excited about this figure.
I agree.
Copter. I used orange napkins to cut them and painted some of them with water glue into a skull pile incense burner to cover the hinge on my vintage Snake Mountain. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, that's intense.
It really is. That's great.
I'm gonna have to look through those pictures you sent me, Thanos, because I think did you send me a picture of that? You may have, I think. And Mega J, someone brushes 3 times a day. Yeah, speaking of that previous picture. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really stoked for this guy. I hope that he has the smell. I love that they're giving him the yellow the yellow armor that came with the extra armor. And I'm actually totally cool with the new head, even if it doesn't come with a flocked beard, which I totally think it should. I'm cool with it. I'm just really, really happy to finally be getting a Mossman. Now, I did want to point out one thing that I did notice again, that I noticed today that I hadn't noticed before with the Origins figures. You know, we all know that you can take the boots off, and I hadn't noticed it until today. But if you look at Mossman's boots, it looks like we'll be able to take his flocked boots off, and that means I can put flocked boots on Whiplash. I can put green flocked boots on He-Man.
Like Uggs.
Uggs, exactly.
That's what Whiplash needed this whole time was Uggs.
That's right.
He needed swamp Uggs.
Swamp Uggs.
I just hope I hope that is still the case, Mattel. If you're listening, definitely. I hope that's that's available to us, because that would be amazing.
We want more flocking.
Yeah.
Apparently, flocking. I just want to specify that enunciation there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ryan, your feelings on Mossman?
Yeah, he's an instant buy for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotta have him in the collection.
It's going to be deluxe, right?
Oh, yeah, with the extra head, I'm going to definitely assume he's deluxe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they announced he was a deluxe Walmart exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not getting it then.
Ryan, we'll help you out, buddy.
Oh yeah, we'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a way to get one to you.
We'll come up with something.
I've whether we have Walmart or not have Walmart, I think we all have mixed feelings about going to that place. So I understand.
Yeah, it's like tracking down superpowers is enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Jay, if we can find him, that's the other problem too. Plenty of superpowers figures, but master stuff is really hard to find.
Yeah, well, I mean, down here, the superpowers are quite a bit easier.
Yeah.
Around at least down here in the States, it's a lot easier. I don't know what's going on with the scene up there in
Don't know. I went down to the States and got all mine.
I don't know. We're gonna have to call up Todd and say, what's going on? You got something against Canadians? You're Canadian.
He's Canadian.
Like, what are you doing?
Now that the Queen passed away, I'm gonna put Todd on all our money.
You know what? Why not? He brought us Venom into the world, and or at least Venom's look into the world, and I'm all for it.
That's right.
SA mentioned something interesting. Walmarts are in Canada, but Target's closed down. Yes, that's true.
I have a whole conspiracy theory about that, but we can get into that another night.
Ooh, I'd love to do a conspiracy episode.
That would be great. Toy conspiracy.
There
you go.
Conspiracy.
It'll be the bootleg episodes of Toy Frenzy. Toy conspiracy.
Yeah.
Walmart exclusives really flock everyone over. Yes.
That's right.
It's true.
Yeah, and Wolverine is Canadian. That's right. Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
And Deadpool and Sabretooth. If there's a healing factor,
yeah.
Canadian.
Yeah.
It's found genetically coded into Canadian DNA.
That's right.
Walmart ate Target. That's the conspiracy theory from Giraffe.
No, see, SA nailed it with I Miss Zellers. So we had a Canadian box store called Zellers, and it was the best. It was awesome. And then Target bought them, and in less than a year later, Target closed them all down. And I am certain it's an insurance scam.
Oh, that's awful.
Could be.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. It is. Like Canada misses Zellers. If you go on our Gotham City Tonight Instagram page, I posted an old animated Batman and Robin toy commercial with the law of Zellers Toyland.
Oh,
nice.
And they uphold the law, and it looks like it looks like a weird mix of like the superpowers design, like the classic superpowers designs.
Yeah.
And the Tick.
Oh wow.
That's cool.
See, that's another one I'm excited for with the long box heroes is getting a Tick in superpower scale.
Yes. Zeddy was awesome. I'm going to try and find some Zeddy merch this week, and I'm getting it. I don't care.
Ooh, yeah. All right, this is the next
Okay.
one on the list. I am really excited about this guy. This is another thing similar to the Eternia playset. It was not on my radar.
No.
When I was deep in comic books, I would walk down the toy aisle every once in a while, and I'd see the New Adventures figures popping up, and I'd be like, "What is that? That's the ugliest thing I've ever seen." And I had, my heart was in still embedded, still deep with the vintage masters, the '80s masters, early '80s masters, and this. But as I've gotten older, I've got such a deep respect and love for this Skeletor. I love the classic version of this of the Space Mutant Skeletor, which is basically this character. But this thing's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want this too. It was my first time seeing it. I didn't know this was coming out.
Really? Oh my
Yeah,
god!
it's my first time seeing it, but I want it now.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. I was shocked too. Like, I mean, they showed off that New Adventures of He-Man version at SDCC, and then they put him out,
Yeah.
and we're just getting him now. But that was it that they showed from the line. So we kind of knew that they were gonna hopefully dive more into the New Adventures. Um, Now I remember when I was growing up, my Battle Armor He-Man, my Battle Armor Skeletor, both of them were broke, and I needed new He-Man and Skeletors. But when I asked my parents about getting new He-Man and Skeletor, they came home with not even this version. They came home with what was it? The Fast Strike punching He-Man, where he had like the slash in his chest and like his torso spun like mid chest, which was weird.
Weird.
And he didn't even have like the lightsaber version of the power sword. He had that other weird gold like broadsword.
Yeah.
And then the later version of like the Space Mutant Skeletor, where like he had like the weird mask that closed over his face like this and only had the eye holes, and he threw the discs. And so like I had those versions and I was not thrilled with either one.
Yeah.
And my buddy had this version of Skeletor, and he had that again almost lightsaber-esque version He-Man. And I was like, you know, it's bad enough that I didn't even get the right He-Man and Skeletor, but I had to get even like the knockoff versions of the ones from this
Right.
line too. So, I'm excited to actually see this version out and really, really, you know, eh, he looks gorgeous. I really hope they keep this kind of paint aesthetic.
Yeah, look at the paint in like the crevices of the muscles,
Yeah.
and it's really, really, really well done. I hope that they keep it this way. There's no guarantee that that'll happen.
Me too. Normally, the washes they do are really kind of eh. I mean, we all saw
Yeah.
it with the 40th anniversary He-Man himself. Everybody was looking at that dirty wash in those pictures, like, oh God, what's going on with this? But this, I gotta say, it's like they've knocked it out of the park. The
So
paint app, beautiful.
I agree. Gamer Bud, you're bringing. I'm leaving your comment up here because I want to say, like, I think that is She-Ra's cape, by the way, folks. That's She-Ra's Masterverse cape. She comes with two. That's her cape. It looks like they painted the ring around the neck from gold to pink or red. I don't think they're going to
These
give.
are prototypes.
Yeah.
Everyone chill out.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give. I don't think they're going to give that cape to him. It would be really. I mean, I personally, I love the weird stuff that happens. So I probably wouldn't mind at all. In fact, I'd probably get a kick out of it if that's the cape that he came with. But I'm fairly certain that's just the She-Ra cape that they put on him, and it makes sense. But I
Right.
love this guy. I'm stoked. There's the chat is blowing up, by the way. It's hard to keep up. Very cool.
Yeah.
And I also put Frogmonger on here. The main reason is he's a sticker. He's a figure now. I love how weird he is. He's like mutant Kermit the
Yes.
Frog, and that totally makes me happy. And he's got a
frog here.
yeah, and he's like he still has this like the neck thing is super strange, like the belt, like just a belt around his neck, and or like a like it's some. I'm wondering if there's like a little thing that could be like a chain that you would attach a chain to on the back, because he did just recently escape from the dungeon, I'm assuming. But
Okay.
I love this guy, and other than that, it's hard to articulate exactly why I love him. He's super weird and fantastic.
Well, he's new.
Yeah, and he's new.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've never had him before, so
That's
this is new. Like Koldar, he's new.
Right.
And
I think that's the one thing about these toy lines when they bring them back. This is more of what I want, like what they're doing with the DC Superpowers line as well.
Yeah.
Give me the stuff we never got. And I love that they're updating the classics as well. But I'm glad that
Yes.
they're not just pumping out the oldies, that we're getting some new stuff as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And yes,
You know-
Giraffe, he did show up on the Stridor box, I believe.
Yeah, he was on what is it?
Oh, Landshark.
Landshark box. I think that was his first appearance kind of early on.
Yeah.
I used to know he's on like 3 different packages, and I used to know all of them. I think one of them was even the Evil Mimics 2-pack as well. You
Mhm.
know, Duplicat and Faker.
Yeah. And SA reminds SA of the Bucky O'Hare frogs. Yes, we've heard that before for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
He could hang out with the punk frogs. Yes, absolutely.
It's funny you bring up his collar and talking about that, because I've been wanting to get Classified Crocmaster has got to be one of the coolest figures I've seen in ages.
I agree. I
Mhm.
completely agree.
I've wanted to buy it for a while now, just so I could use the extra accessories like the collar with the chain
Mhm.
as like Beastman having a leash. And you know what? Why not give Beastman Fiona and the 2 baby Crocs? You know, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But now I think it'd be kind of cooler to attach that collar and chain to Frogmonger,
Yeah.
and then who knows, maybe have Beastman keep him on a leash.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That would be amazing. Oh, a GamerBot, if they do an Origins Plundar, yes, you could have a Bucky O'Hare character team up. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow, that'd be great.
I love Plundar, man. That's great. All right. The next thing on my list, obviously, I had to include Snake Mountain in here, and mainly because this is I've been looking forward to this for ages. This is going to be really exciting when it comes out. It's affordable. We know it's going to be affordable. It has to be.
Yes.
And all the stuff that it comes with. And the thing that I'm really loving is the Filmation style Snakehead finally, and that they added, as you mentioned earlier, Oz, the spires to make it taller. I'm just super stoked. And Ryan, you mentioned it earlier, and you had picked up on, I believe you were referring to the image from the Mattel presentation that showed the from Eternia. There potentially could be an attachment that leads from the Snake Tower to Snake Mountain and the Grayskull Tower to Grayskull. That not a lot of people have talked about it. I don't even think Pixel Dan mentioned it in his video, but those things in the illustration, those are colored. Those are distinct features that they didn't talk about that we can probably expect, and to have those connect the Grayskull with the Eternia playset to Grayskull and Snake Mountain would just be like the bee's knees.
It'd be awesome.
It'd be phenomenal. That's the biggest playset. I think it might actually end up being bigger than the USS Flag.
I think the Eternia already is.
Is
in
it
some
already?
ways?
Well, height-wise for sure, but I saw the flag recently in person, and it's a pretty long thing, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Right.
But with these two attached to it, definitely.
Well, it's like I think the flag's about 7 feet long total. Like it's a massive,
Oh,
massive
that's
toy.
right. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, it's like 6 feet
So
long.
it's definitely got it beat on a length kind of, even with the tram going the whole way around it,
Yeah.
extending its footprint. It's definitely longer, but square footage wise, I think Eternia definitely has it beat because you got the height, you've got the depth and length that you're comparing measurement to, and it's got the flag beat in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
The
The
brick
flag has a microphone, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
You know,
The microphone. Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I just wonder real quick, like if because of Eternia, that Hasbro might consider seeing how Eternia goes out. GI Joe team has already had success with that Hiss tank, and even with the Sky Striker after they did a pivot. You know, they definitely had to make some adjustments to really get that one to pass. But with the success that they've had, I wonder if they would be daring enough to attempt an O-ring flag crowdsource. You know, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they would attempt. I don't know after Ghost Rider Haslab, but if they've been watching and paying attention, what everybody is saying, the reoccurring theme is Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider is just not popular enough. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they would do a flag today. Mega J says the flag is the smallest surfboard, which was sold to kids in the '80s. Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
And Brick something. I'm gonna go back to this. Like, I'm officially jealous of y'all's gigantic homes. Honestly, Brick something. I think most people that are getting these play sets don't have large homes.
No, that is our large home. That's what
I
we're
was
buying.
gonna say I'm upgrading.
It becomes a corner of the small home is really what happens, and you get rid of an extra chair that you might have or a shelf and put that there instead, right? Because I think you don't have to have a large home to get something like this. You just have to make room for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, that's the fun part: moving your toys around, taking shelves out, putting some new shorter tables that heck, build something and you can make it work in your small space. Last thing on my I wanted to show the interior again, but Oz, I know you showed that already. We won't get into it, but I did want to emphasize how exciting it is that we'll be able to put figures in that moat or that the swampy area of the Snake Mountain with the little creatures in there. That's very
Great
cool.
play feature.
Yeah, very cool.
And then Eternia's top of my list, mainly because of the conceptual aspect of this. The play is phenomenal with this. As a kid, I loved anything that you could look into or reach into. And this is, for me, the ultimate version of that. This is the castle that you built out of. This is the fort you built out of couch cushions. This is the cardboard boxes you piled on top of each other and taped up and cut holes out of. And heck, I even put two boxes on top of one another and climbed up inside of them. And, I'm lucky I didn't fall and hurt myself. But like, this is the fort building experience that we can have as adult collectors, and it's so much fun. And just hope, if you can get it.
Right.
Yes. Yep. I got nothing more to add to it. No more than I've already said. It's amazing playset.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is I put this picture in here, and I'm sorry Vintage Motu's not here because I grabbed this from him. But this is Vintage Motu's picture of Slushhead and I just want, if anybody from Mattel ever happens upon this, we need
They're
Slushhead.
watching.
Yeah, we need Slushhead. We need Slushhead in Masterverse form. We need him in Origins form. We need Slushhead.
And I want the water in his
Yeah.
dome. Like,
Gotta be
we
able to
need that.
Yeah. Either add it to it or it comes with it. Like the classics version of him, you could add it to it and drain it out, which I
Right.
thought was pretty cool. But I love that you can't, who knows what that is? Is that even water? Because it comes with it, and it could be water, it could be something else. Has anybody ever broken it and smelled what was in there?
I
kind of don't want to think about it, considering that is at least 30-year-old water.
Yeah. If it's water. If it's, I
Yeah.
mean, I have
If it's
I have one of these. There's no mold in there. I don't think that that's water, folks.
It may not be. And
Yeah.
why not bring that image?
Again. Oh, man.
I love that image.
I know. Of course, he'll come with water. He needs the water, or he can't breathe. Yes, of course. Yes.
Right.
Yes. But man, it's getting late, and I'm starting to lose my voice. I want to say thank you all for being here. I want to, and I'm speaking to the folks in the chat, because the chat has just been exploding. We've got a nice number of people watching. This is really awesome. We really appreciate you all being here. And we know you're here because Ryan's here, because he's awesome. So any final thoughts, Ryan or Oz?
No, just thank you for having me. This has been a really fun discussion. I could always love talking about MOTU. It's always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's it. Thank you for having me. Thank you everyone who watched too, and thank you to everyone who's watching on the replay. Don't forget to hit that like button. If you liked what you saw tonight, hit that subscribe button. You never know when these guys are going to do a video necessarily. They might do one on Monday, Sunday. So hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode.
That's right. You never know when we might post another video. So yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for that, Ryan. And definitely go to Ryan's channels too. I mean, you got to check out Toy Anxiety. You got to check out Gotham City Tonight. You got to check out Yes Have Some podcast. I need to tell you, when I first saw the Yes Have Some logo, I thought, oh, my high school has a podcast, because my high school abbreviation was YHS. And I was like, that's weird. But because that's not in my algorithm. I'm not looking up, my high school. I'm looking up toys, but that popped up. And you guys got to check everything out that Ryan's doing. And definitely check out the IMDb page and see what he has done and what he's working on now.
Right.
That's right.
Oz, how about you?
Well, absolutely. I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight and catching us all live. Ryan, this has been an amazing experience, because, I've been watching you for ages, and finally getting to do a show with you. That's like a dream come true, mark it off of my bucket list here now. And that's legitimate.
Again, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I definitely look forward to doing some more work with you in the future. Like I said, get together and do some Star Wars talk. That would be an awesome episode to do, just nerding out talking about Star Wars. I mean, I know we're mostly MOTU centric over here, but God, it was the other great franchise of my youth was Star Wars. So that would be a lot of fun to do. And guys, I gotta admit, like Gotham City Tonight, it's Wednesdays I got a whole lineup. Duchess of Darkness does her premieres at like 9, and it's great because then I get a small break from YouTube that I do some chores, and then I run right into Gotham City Tonight right after that. And I got to tell you, I am not the biggest Superman fan. I mean, I've enjoyed certain storylines, of course, but after watching last night's episode, I'm excited to see what's coming down the line with Superman now. So again, guys, go tune into Gotham City Tonight, check out last night's live, and it will get you hyped for Superman like intensely.
Yeah.
Because I was afterwards, and I'm not the biggest Superman fan. I've always been a Batman fan, the whole Bat family, and oddly Plastic Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just such a strange, weird superhero. I love him. So,
Here you
um,
go. Batman, Superman is better than Batman. Fight me, gamer bud.
oh, Gamer Bud, we're gonna have to have words, son.
Mhm.
There's this movie called Batman versus Superman that I highly recommend you all check out.
That's right. That's right. And
Batman
go
versus
check out
Superman podcast of justice.
Podcast of Justice.
there you go, Podcast of Justice. I like that. It's got a nice tune to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so again, you guys can catch Dole just about almost every night of the week. Tuesdays on Toy Anxiety, Wednesdays Gotham City Tonight, and now every other Monday, hopefully. Or yeah, it was Monday, right? I believe it was. Yeah, the
That'll be all
ripping.
over the board. That's why you got to set your notifications. You never know.
Well,
Yeah.
fortunately, mine are already set for the channel, so I've got it. But that's a lot of fun to see. And of course, you can always catch Skelevator here. And we're all big fans of what you do here, Skelevator. Even when I'm not on here with you. Whenever you're doing a live, I'll always jump in the chat, and we're gonna have a fun toy frenzy, even if I'm not on the screen. Uh, it's been fun doing a couple of those again more recently, where I'm just chilling in the chat for once. So that's been really cool, and I've been loving all the new unboxing videos. It's been great to see like some of these awesome packs that I've actually had to skip over.
Mhm.
Like tonight's 40th anniversary pack, the He-Man 4 pack. It's been great to be able to watch you open those up, and now I get to live vicariously through you owning those packs.
Mm.
So, and I'm excited for what news you may have coming up next, because even I don't know what's going on with this speculation that you've dropped on us tonight. So I'm really excited to hear about it, and I can't wait to see your next video coming up about that.
Well, part of what um, a big part of that speculation is the unknowing, and I'm really kind of superstitious. So the more I say, the more I might jinx it. So one thing you can count on with me is that I love to build things. The other thing is that I'm always willing to trade. The other thing is that I will, do whatever I can try to do to try and get something that I wouldn't be able to afford. And that's the situation I'm in right now. And that's about all I can say about it because I don't want to jinx it.
No, 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 yeah,
But
definitely.
but yeah, so I'm really excited about the potential of Eternia, the potential of Snake Mountain, the potential of all these figures that are coming out. I'm with Ryan and with you, Oz, both like on this. Like we can't afford to get everything, but we find a way to get the things that we want. And similar to what Ryan said earlier, there wasn't really a YouTube show, giving him what he needed from DC, from the DC universe. And so he and his friend, what was her name again? Lexi, got together, and I'm so sorry I forgot her name. I was just watching her last night. You got together and created something new, something for you and something for the fans, and similar to what we were talking about with how we're going to wear our beards and how we're going to collect what we collect. Like if you got a thing that you want to do it. If you have a small apartment or a bedroom where you're going to put your Eternia and make it work, there's ways to do it. There's ways around all this stuff, and we just want to remember to not talk down about things or talk in ways that lessen the impact that these things are having on others, just because we can't get it or we have mixed feelings about it. So really, it's important that if you want something, own that, and don't get mad at others for having it, or for making paving a way to get it, and we don't want to miss out on all the joy that this is really all about. And we know these are corporations that are making these things, and we're buying them, and that's kind of a crazy concept to begin with, but these are real artifacts, and they're little jewels of nostalgia, and there's a lot of artistry in these things. And That's what we really want to appreciate, and that's a part of the reason, Ryan, why Oz and I were really excited to have you, because you bring that energy, you know, and everyone else that's been on this on Toy Frenzy with us brings that energy, and that's part of the reason why we reach out. And Oz, you've done so much for this channel. I really appreciate it. I know I say that at the end of every show, but really do. You make my thumbnails look good, and you bring all the knowledge, man. And you're getting the word out. I wouldn't have connected with Ryan if it hadn't been for you. So I appreciate that. And anyways, I'm going on and on. I'm getting sentimental. I just want to say, you know, everybody should, you know, like and subscribe to everything that Ryan's doing, everything that Oz is doing. Find them and like and subscribe and hit those bell notifications. Thank you for doing the same for this channel. It really is awesome. If you feel like becoming a Patreon, I like to make things. I'll send you things. And also, Oz and I have been talking about some other incentives, so we're going to have a discussion about that. And if you have any ideas, those of you who are in the chat, if you have any ideas of what might be a good incentive that might convince you to be a Patreon to this channel, shoot me an email. My email is right down below. And if you have any questions you want to send my way, or pictures of things you're making, I'm always interested in seeing that stuff, because I love to make stuff and all that. Thank you, John. John said real talk, 100%. Oh, that's awesome. So anyways, thank you all for being here. Ryan, thank you so much for being here. We're going to hold you to a Star Wars conversation down the line.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. Or anything. But anyways, it's great to have you, and it's been a lot of fun. And Oz, anything last words?
Hashtag USS Flog.
Yes.
Hashtag Ripagriz. Hashtag Whoppers for Eternia.
That's right. Wait, there's another hashtag. I'm forgetting it now because it's new, but we said it earlier.
Oh no, what did we say earlier?
It was a good one too. I'm scanning through the comments.
Was it the one in my post where I said hashtag I don't know what I'm doing with these?
No, it was good too. Oh man, I feel bad. Anyways,
if you guys ever read my hashtags, by the way, I always include little jokes like that in there. So
have fun with your hashtags, people. I can't find it, but that's actually really beautiful. I can't find it in the chat. I think this is
right? It's been a poppin' chat tonight.
So that's pretty cool.
Hashtag Dick Grayson's badonk.
Oh my gosh.
My favorite thing.
That's right.
This is gonna bug me. Okay, just tell me to stop. I'll stop. All right.
Okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Hashtag get flocked. There we go.
Get flocked.